Breaking news, everybody, stimulus checks are being approved. So here's some good news for residents of the state of California, as California mulls whether to send out another stimulus check to deal with a massive projected budget surplus. A group of state lawmakers are making the case for more tax rebates. In a video that published on social media, Republican State Senator Brian Jones used grains of rice to break down the projected budget surplus, which as of January was estimated at around $45.7 billion. So according to the state senator, the amount is enough to send every Californian a tax rebate of around $1,125 or $4,500 for a family of four. That is a pretty large amount of money that will really help many Americans financially during this crisis. More stimulus checks are very likely because the surplus is expected to exceed California's constitutional limit. That limit essentially restricts the amount of tax revenue the state can spend, while giving lawmakers options on what to do with leftover funds, including giving it back to taxpayers in the form of relief checks. In unveiling a sweeping $286 billion budget proposal for the 2022 fiscal year last month, Gavin Newsom noted that his office projected a budget surplus of around $2.6 billion over the constitutional limit. The good news, friends, that lawmakers, many lawmakers, including State Senator Jones, support sending out rebates, or as they were known as last year, Golden State stimulus payments. So although Newsom's initial proposal did not actually make payments, he indicated afterwards that the checks will likely be added to the final version of the bill. Newsom said in a statement, "We expected in the May revised language when it updated the budget that we are likely to have an additional rebate to the taxpayers. It's still unclear how much taxpayers could receive if the Golden State stimulus program is revived for 2022. In the second expanded Golden State stimulus program, eligible Californians got $600 plus an additional $500 if they had one or more qualifying dependents. And waiting another 3 months to decide how to spend the extra funds would give Newsom and the California legislature just weeks to negotiate ahead of the June 15th budget deadline. The state's fiscal year begins July 1st, and it's also likely the budget surplus could be even higher than the current estimate, which would mean even larger stimulus checks for California residents. Now here's some good news for millions of people. Millions of food stamp users will keep having a SNAP benefit after a dozen states extended the support through February. 12 states so far have announced that they will be extending the food stamp benefits. The SNAP benefits help millions of low-income families. In April 2021, the federal government extended $1 billion towards food stamp programs in the United States. The extra $1 billion will help an estimated 25 million people in low-income households that struggle to put food on the table. The food stamp benefits were expiring in September 2021. Nevertheless, the vast majority of states extended their emergency SNAP benefits. Many states extended emergency benefits through January, and some of them are keeping the SNAP benefits through February. The amount of money depends on the family size. However, the minimum amount that households will require is $95. The average food stamp benefit increased to $157 per person in October. Additional states could extend benefits during the next weeks or even days. Now, if you're interested in applying for SNAP benefits, please know that each state has a different way and diverse application form for all SNAP programs. Also, the amount in SNAP benefits that you receive will depend on your family size and your state residence. Folks, so that's all the news about the fourth stimulus check that I want you to know. But be sure to continue watching the next video to find out the most important stimulus information.
Office.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here today. The rapidly changing costs in Arizona's housing market have been a major concern of mine for a number of years. Now more than ever, low-income and fixed housing Arizonans are struggling to afford housing. Recently, an out-of-state investor purchased an apartment building in Tucson that was originally affordable housing for seniors. But after purchasing the building, the investor doubled the rent for residents, forcing many of these seniors to seek increasingly difficult to find housing options. According to the Arizona Daily Star, Tucson's newspaper, the investor described his method as rehab, kick the tenants out and raise the rents. He describes the outcome he seeks as, quote, forced appreciation, where he tries to raise rents on Arizonans faster than market forces would normally permit. So let's think about that for a minute. Arizona has an affordable housing shortage and some of the fastest rising rents in the country, and somehow even that is not enough for this investor. So my first question is for all of the panelists, and I'd invite you to feel free to respond or not respond. Would anyone like to defend how this investor talks about Arizona seniors and, quote, kicking them out of their homes? Right. I didn't think so. So my next question is, does anyone testifying today feel like these actions and these words respect our seniors and the most vulnerable members of our communities? Good. We have common ground. Arizonans know we have an obligation to take care of and respect our seniors. Our seniors have worked hard, and they deserve to enjoy their golden years with dignity in the company of friends and loved ones. But many Arizona seniors live on fixed incomes and can't afford excessive rent increases. In Arizona, there's also affordable housing shortage for everyone, not just for seniors. So when out-of-state investors target Arizona seniors and kick them out of their homes, they aren't left with a lot of great options, and some don't have any options at all. So, Ms. Martin, I want to thank you for being here. In your city, have you seen instances where seniors being priced out of their existing homes by practices I just described in Tucson have contributed to homelessness among seniors?
Unfortunately, I have, Senator. The seniors in our community are some of the most vulnerable residents, and they have the most difficulty. And in fact, the example that I provided in my testimony of the woman who was evicted from her home, she was a subsidized tenant who had a housing choice voucher. She was a senior. Her sister was a senior who had dementia, and they were evicted from the home, even though they had never missed a rent payment. So I think, we need to take note of the impact this is having on seniors and on disabled residents, which is, in my experience, very commonplace.
I've heard from AARP Arizona and affordable housing advocates about a disturbing rise in senior homelessness in Arizona. It's something I previously discussed on the Aging Committee and, of course, have talked about here in the Banking Committee. Now, Ms. Martin, losing your home, no matter who you are, is a life-altering event. But I believe that losing your home as a senior on a fixed income is uniquely challenging in this housing market. So my question is, do you agree? And if so, can you share a few reasons why it's uniquely challenging for seniors?
Typically, seniors are not employed, so they have no income other than what they're receiving in Social Security or small pensions. So they typically cannot afford market rate rents, and units in affordable buildings, such as low-income housing tax credit project building designed for seniors. In Cleveland, at least, there's a long waiting list, at least a year, maybe more. So in the example I provided in my testimony, the woman had put her sister with dementia in a house with another family member and her grandchild, and she was living in her car. And it's winter in Cleveland. So I think it's very real what's going on, and it's absolutely tragic. And no, they can't easily find other housing.
No, thank you. Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for holding this hearing today. I want to continue working with my colleagues in a